All right, gather round, folks. I've got a tale that'll make your hair stand on end. It's the top cemetery horror story, and let me tell you, it's a real spine chiller. So, picture this. It's a warm summer night, stars twinkling overhead, me and my buddies gathered around a crackling campfire. We're swapping ghost stories like we always do, trying to one-up each other with the scariest tales we can muster. But then, I remember this one story I heard from my uncle about the old cemetery just outside of town. You know the one nobody ever goes near because it's got a reputation. So I figure, why not? Let's see what all the fuss is about. We sneak in through a hole in the fence, feeling brave and stupid all at once. The air gets chilly, like there's something lurking in the darkness, but we brush it off as nerves. We're just a bunch of dumb kids looking for a thrill after all. As we're wandering around, cracking jokes and trying not to let the spookiness get to us, we stumble upon this grave that looks like it hasn't been touched in years. It's all covered in moss and weeds, like nobody's been there since forever. And that's when things start to get weird. I swear, I heard whispers in the wind, voices calling out to me from the shadows. And then, out of nowhere, the ground starts shaking beneath our feet, like something's trying to claw its way out from the depths below. We bolt, running faster than we ever have in our lives. But when we look back, the grave is empty, like it was never even there to begin with. The next day, we hear about this old legend, about a restless spirit that haunts the cemetery, searching for its lost soul. And get this, it's said that whoever disturbs its grave will be cursed to roam the earth forever, trapped between the world of the living and the dead. But here's the kicker. The night after our little adventure, strange things start happening. Shadows move where they shouldn't, whispers echo through the darkness, and I swear I catch glimpses of figures out of the corner of my eye. It's like that cemetery followed us home, and now it's haunting our every step. So if you ever find yourself near that old cemetery, heed my warning, stay far away. Some places are best left undisturbed, and that cemetery, it's one of them.
We returned home that night, the memory of the cemetery still fresh in our minds. We tried to shake it off, laughing nervously and pretending like nothing had happened. But deep down, we all knew that something had changed. The days passed, but the feeling of uneasy lingered. Strange things started happening. Objects moved on their own. Shadows danced in the corners of our vision, and we heard footsteps echoing through the empty halls of our homes when we knew we were alone. We tried to ignore it, to convince ourselves that it was just our imagination running wild. But the whispers grew louder, the shadows grew darker, and the feeling of being watched never went away. One by one, my friends started experiencing strange occurrences of their own. Mark swore he saw a figure standing at the foot of his bed in the middle of the night, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Emily woke up to find claw marks etched into the walls of her room like something had been trying to break through from the other side. And as for me, well, let's just say I've seen things that I can't explain. Shadows that move on their own, whispers that seem to come from nowhere, and a feeling of dread that never quite goes away. We tried to tell ourselves that it was just a coincidence, that there was a logical explanation for everything that was happening. But deep down, we all knew the truth, that we had brought something back with us from that cemetery, something that was now haunting us, feeding off our fear and growing stronger with each passing day. So, if you ever find yourself tempted to visit that old cemetery, take my advice and stay far away. Trust me, you don't want to end up like us, trapped in a nightmare that we can't escape, haunted by the memory of that top cemetery horror story. Alright folks, buckle up because I've got another bone-chilling tale for you. It's the second cemetery horror story, and trust me, this one's gonna make your skin crawl. So, it was a dark and stormy night. Cliché, I know, but bear with me. And me and my buddies, we're out for a drive, looking for a thrill. We end up near this old cemetery, the same one from the first story, and we figure, why not? Let's see if lightning really does strike twice. We park the car at the edge of the cemetery, the rain pounding against the windshield like ghostly fingers tapping at the glass. The air is thick with tension, like something's waiting for us just beyond the gates. But we ain't scared, not yet anyway. We make our way into the cemetery, the ground slick with mud and the tombstones looming like silent sentinels in the darkness. Lightning flashes overhead, illuminating the shadows and casting eerie shapes on the ground. And that's when we see it. A figure standing in the distance, its eyes glowing like embers in the night. We freeze, unsure of what to do. But before we can make a move, the figure disappears into the darkness, leaving us standing there, hearts pounding in our chests. We try to laugh it off to convince ourselves that it was just our imagination playing tricks on us. But deep down, we know that something's not right. We can feel it in the air, a sense of dread that hangs over us like a shroud. We decide to split up, each of us searching for answers in our own way. But as we wander deeper into the cemetery, we realize that we're not alone. Shadows move in the corners of our vision. Whispers echo through the darkness, and the feeling of being watched never goes away. And then, just when we think things couldn't get any worse, we stumble upon a grave unlike any we've ever seen before. It's covered in strange symbols and markings, like something out of a horror movie. And as we stand there, staring at it in horror, we feel a chill run down our spines, like we've stumbled upon something ancient and malevolent, something that should have stayed buried. We try to run, to get as far away from that cursed place as possible. But it's too late. The ground starts shaking beneath our feet, and before we know it, we're surrounded by a horde of shadowy figures, their eyes burning with a hunger that sends shivers down our spines. We try to fight them off, to make a run for it, but it's no use. They're everywhere, clawing at us, dragging us down into the depths below. And as we're pulled into the darkness, we realize the true horror of our situation, that we're trapped in a nightmare from which there is no escape. So, if you ever find yourself near that old cemetery, heed my warning. Stay far away. Trust me, you don't want to end up like us, trapped in a nightmare that we can't wake up from, haunted by the memory of that second cemetery horror story. Subscribe to Terrifying, where chills are verifying.